If you're paying close attention, you'll notice this Camaro is sitting a lot higher than you would think it would for a high-performance street vehicle. So what's happening is this car is being put away for the winter, and I put it up on jacks. I'm going to take a few minutes and show you how to do this, and I'm going to tell you why you would want to do this. What? So what you're looking at here is called a quick jack. It's basically a lift, a hydraulic lift. You can see the hose here. It's run by an electric motor that's behind the car that's plugged into the wall. And what it's going to do is it's going to articulate and come up against the rocker panels on the vehicle, and it's going to lift it right up off the ground. So when I do this, and if you buy one of these pieces of equipment, you'll need to do the same thing. It comes with these rubber pads. And these rubber pads are designed to take up the gap between the metal surface of the lift and the metal on the vehicle so it doesn't damage anything. I put that in here. It goes all the way forward. I've already lined it up. So it lines up with the jack point or the lift point on the rocker panel. I also have one in the rear that's doing the same thing. If you look real close, you can actually see the line from the rocker panel where it sat on the rubber block.
Hold on, let me look. Alright, so right now I want to ask you, are these optional?
Those rubber blocks are not optional. You don't ever want to use that quick jack right directly against the underside of the vehicle. One reason is you can cause damage to the vehicle. The other reason is you see that hose. The hose is connected to a pump that's inside the rail of the lift. You can't really see it very well. But if this were not, if I didn't have the rubber block taking up the gap, this would get squeezed between the body of the car and the top of the quick jack. And that would be bad. It might cut it and cause hydraulic fluid to go everywhere. You're looking at 12,000 psi of pressure, hydraulic pressure. And so it takes a lot of pressure to lift a 200-pound vehicle.
Is that about how much this weighs?
That's about how much this car weighs, yeah. So I'm coming back here so you can see the motor. This is the hydraulic motor. It runs off of, this is the hydraulic motor right here. It's set into a frame here so it's easy to pick up, move around. And this is the controller unit for it. It's pretty basic, has up and down on it, UP and DN. And then it plugs into just a 110 circuit.
Just a regular household
circuit.
Gotcha.
Yep. And when I take this to the track with me for Big Red, I actually have to take it's over there. Take a generator with me. It's a little Yamaha generator because you don't always have access to power if you're on an outside paddock, and the electrical outlet that's powered by the truck is not enough. It keeps blowing the circuit, so it takes a lot of energy to run this. And when I do this very slowly to start with. I want to make sure that everything is lined up, because if it's not lined up properly, you're going to pinch this hose and cut it, or possibly cut it, or at least cut off the flow, and you might damage the underside of the vehicle. So I go up nice and slow, a little bit at a time. Wait, so now the car is starting to move. I know that those rubber pads are engaged, and you see only this side at the moment, but this is happening exactly on the other side as well, because they have another one of these quick lifts on the other side of the vehicle. Okay? And they both run off of that one pump, so they go up evenly. So here we go. It's in contact. The hose is not crimped or pinched. You can see it's moving freely. And I'm just going to lift the vehicle up off the ground. Ready? There we go. You can see it's lifting. The tires are up off the ground now. I'm just going to wait for these cams to switch, which they just did. So at the end of this bar right here is a little cam lock. What that does is it rolls out of the way. So when I let it back down a little bit, it locks on a little metal tab that's going across the bottom, which puts this into a mechanical lock instead of a hydraulic lock.
Yep, just light the area. Get down there and yeah, there. Show us what we're looking at here.
This is the locking arm for the quick lift with the quick jack. So this is a little cam lock. It rolls out of the way so that this little leg can lock on that little tab right there.
Yep.
When I let it back down, and that puts it into a mechanical lock. And this bar is actually what's holding all the weight of the vehicle up in the air. Okay. And then when we want to take it off, if we want that to not lock in place, we just let that cam lock come down. That allows that to pass over that little lock tab when we let it down. Okay. So we want that up so it'll lock into place. And then when it hits that tab, that'll bump up out of the way, and then the lock will go into place. So I'll leave a flashlight on that right now so you can see it happen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Got that popped up?
Yeah.
And now that mechanical lock is going to come down. And there we go.
So, can you please explain the difference between, at this point, the hydraulic lock and the mechanical lock?
Yep.
What's the difference?
So the hydraulic lock is just that, it's all fluid. So there's fluid pushing a ram and a piston that pushes the vehicle up. And, I mean, you would think that a hydraulic system would be completely reliable and wouldn't bleed down, but based on just the way they're designed, they could have bleed down and then the car could fall down slowly and eventually just get down to the ground. We don't want that to happen. So putting the mechanical lock in place guarantees this vehicle is going to stay exactly where I want it right now. It's not going to come down until I go back in there, lift it back up, reverse the cam locks, and let it come down to the ground. So a mechanical lock is just that. It's a piece of metal against another piece of metal. It's something physical versus hydraulic fluid that holds it into place and pressure. Now typically I would pick this up and put it away if I was all done, but I'm going to leave it there because there's no sense putting it away. I'm going to do this in the spring and I let it down. So I'm just going to leave it all in place. So you may be wondering if it's okay that we're doing this in the winter with the hydraulics since it's fluid, and you think about fluid freezing in the winter. Well, the hydraulic is an oil, and if you think about backhoes or bulldozers or even snow plows like on the front of my truck, they all operate on hydraulics and they work perfectly well in the winter, just like a power steering in a vehicle. Okay. So there's no harm to leave this out the way it is. It's not going to hurt anything. They've been sitting here on the wall, coiled up on hangers for 2 years, so it's not going to hurt them to lay on the floor while we let the car sleep for the winter. So the reason I did this, the reason I put this up off the ground, is the compound that these tires are made with are a very soft compound. They're not like in normal street tires. They're for racing. It's a racing compound. And you can't drive the car you can't move the car, period, in 40-degree or lower weather because the compound will actually crack. Which also makes it much more susceptible to flat spots in the tire. So flat spots are caused by a car sitting still with all of its weight on one spot on a tire for a period of time. We don't want flat spots because as you go down the highway, it throws the wheel out of balance. You see all this as you're going down the highway. So trying to prevent flat spots on the tire. So now they're lifted up off the ground. They stay completely round. They don't lose their shape, and they should not have any flat spots when I take the car out in the spring. The question is, does the winter or the cold weather degrade the tire? Typically, normal vehicle tires, you don't have that issue. They're designed for all weather. So that's why they're all weather radials or all season radials. They're designed for summer, winter, spring, fall, all year round. These tires are summer tires only. So they're only designed to be driven in the summer. So these tires are very susceptible to weather and weather conditions such as rain, snow, sleet, ice, salt. So you got to keep these tires in really good condition. You got to keep them safe, keep them out of the weather and out of the elements because they're big money. You're looking at, I don't even want to talk about how much money, $500 or $600 per tire to replace these tires. So they're getting pretty worn as it is because it's got about 12,000 miles on the car, so they're going to need to replace soon, but we want to get as much life out of them as we possibly can.
Alright, so let me just throw myself in here for a second. Okay. So this is Tony's real girlfriend. I'm just his wife.
No, you're my wife. This is my girlfriend.
I just said, you silly. He loves this car almost more than life itself.
That's not true.
It almost is. He has another car to race. He doesn't race this ZL1. What is this ZL1? What was this ZL1 designed for, Tony?
Racing.
Racing. Do you race this baby of yours?
No.
No. So he does a lot of hard work to keep the car as pristine as possible. Tell us, Tony, how many of these cars are in existence or were in existence as of 5 years ago?
Exactly like this. So when a car comes out of the production plant, it's ordered with very specific accessories and a very specific body type and things like that. So this particular vehicle with the way that I had it built, because I had this car built for me, I didn't just pick it off of a lot. So the way this car was built, there were only 5 of them in that year when they were made. So
yep, it's a very unique mix. So
it's hard to tell if those 5 are still around.
We don't really know, but at the end of the year, when all of these cars were made for that year,
there were only 5.
There were only 5 made the way Tony had Ghost made. Does your car have a name, Tony?
My car does have a name, and I used to have a license plate which reflected that name, but Maine put a new law in place that caused me to lose it. So now it just says JD to be on it. But the car has a name, and the name is Ghost.
Alright, okay, so back to the tires. I'm not sure if you can see. Actually, Tony, can you get down there and go like this with your hand so they can see that your hand touches the ground and then the tire up and down like this? Yes. This
I'm not going to move the tire.
No, just put your hand on the ground under the tire. And show them the space between the tire and the floor, please.
So you can see, I can get my hand underneath it.
Yeah, go up and down. Flop it up and down. Yeah, see how much space there is there? That's a lot of space.
Lots of space.
Yep. Alright. Okay, so that's basically what's happening on here today. Just preserving Ghost tires. Make sure that she can make it another season at least. Tony doesn't put a whole lot of miles on her. He wants to keep her mileage low. He takes care of her really well. Did you put anything under the hood to keep the mice out?
There's an electronic gadget on there to keep the mice out.
He used to have cinnamon under there. It smelled so good. Cinnamon, right? It was like this cinnamon.
Yeah, that right there.
Oh yeah, here. He used to put... Do you want to give him an extra tip? He'll tell you what he does. If you're wondering how to keep mice out of the engine, get over there and show them what your very simple and inexpensive trick. It still smells pretty good.
A little bit. So I bought this at Walgreens. I just happened to be walking by. I was like, what's that smell? So they had these little, I don't know what you call this thing.
They're decorative.
It's for Christmas time basically, or Halloween. It's decorative. You hang it on your door or put it on your porch. I had a whole bunch of these, and I know that mice and rodents don't like the smell of mint, so I got some of these, and I did it for my race car mostly. So I threw them in the trunk, in the inside of the car, and under the hood, and then in here, just to keep them up under the hood, I put this underneath the hood in here. Just laid it across the engine cover and left it there with the hood open just a little bit, and I didn't see any mice under there this year. I also put a little electronic gadget under there which flashes a light, which will annoy rodents. It also makes this high-pitched noise that humans can't hear, but rodents can. So it's hooked up to the battery, which is why I have a trickle charger hooked up to the battery, because I just had to replace this battery. So I've never had to replace a battery in this or the race car, or any of my cars for a long time. But this car sits for so much time. I don't drive it very much, so it sits so much that the battery went dead. So had to replace the battery, and now I leave a trickle charger on it to keep it going.
Well, this brings us to a whole new question. Can you lift this? Is this too much of an issue to lift? No. What is a trickle charger? What's a trickle charger?
A trickle charger is just that.
You're blocking my light. Hold on. This is totally blocking my light. Darn it. Okay, hold on.
See the light flashing there?
Yeah, there you go. I hope you guys can see us. It's not looking good right now.
So this is a trickle charger, and actually you can see it says Camaro on it. It's designed specifically for the Camaro.
Let me have your light.
Use any battery you want.
Let me have your light. I'm sorry. 1 second. All right, I'm gonna put it on you. Is it on?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is a trickle charger. You can see it says Camaro on there. It's specifically designed only for a Camaro. No, you can use it on any car you want. It came as a Camaro accessory. So I leave this in here. What it does is it monitors the battery, and as soon as the battery starts to lose its charge, it doesn't keep it completely full all the time. It lets it drain down a little bit and then charges it up. So that's the best thing to do with the battery, is always let it drain a little bit, then charge it up. So this keeps it at a full charge. It just does it nice and slow. over the winter, so when I come up in the spring and take her down off the blocks, I don't have to worry about charging the battery or replacing the battery again.
Does it hold your radio stations if it keeps the trickle?
Well, if the battery goes dead, the radios don't work the way they used to. If you lose your battery, you don't lose your radio stations. That keeps all that programming. But obviously I can't start the car and I can't drive it, and I have to go get a new battery and replace it or charge it, so it's a pain in the butt when it happens.
Okay.
So put a trickle charger on if you're storing your car for the winter. That way in the spring you start your car right up, or even in the winter you can go out and start your vehicle on occasion and make sure that it's still running properly. So.
Okay. Hold this for a sec. I'm going to take it from you again.
As I just told you about the trickle charger, now let me show you my rodent deterrent device. So that's this little black box that's right underneath this bar. So you can see the red light on that, and if you watch for a second, you'll see it flash a few times, a bright white light over here.
Hold on, put your finger right up to that light. Well, they can't see your finger. Do it on the side.
Right over here.
Okay. Let me just hold on.
Is it flashing it?
It is flashing. It's this box right there.
Yep. So that's the rodent deterrent device, and what it is the flash, and it makes a high-pitched ultrasonic sound also, which hurts the mice's ears and it makes them run away.
Okay.
So
it's all
it
green.
goes back and forth.
Why is it lighting like that?
I told you it flashes like that, so in your ear.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Wait, do it again. Look down there. Tell us about it. I see it. I really see it now.
So the green means it's working right now. So what it's doing is it's functioning the way it's supposed to. So now it's going to go red. It won't do anything. It is flashing still. I can't remember why it goes red and green, but it does mean something. So
yeah, but that light, I can see it from here. You couldn't see it before.
Yeah, so that flashing light is one of the irritants for the mice, so they won't sleep in there because they won't like that light flashing at them. And also has that ultrasonic high-pitched sound that it makes. Okay, so the 4 things that I do to get my car ready for the winter storage months are: number 1, I use my quick jack to get the vehicle up off the ground so I don't get flat spots on my tires. Number 2 is I use some mint scented something. Could be this, could be anything, just something with a very strong mint smell to deter the rodents from getting into the vehicle. I put a trickle charger on the battery to make sure the battery stays fully charged throughout the winter, make sure everything runs in the vehicle, and when I go in the spring to open it up, I can start it right up. And then the last thing I do, in case the mint wears off, is I use this electronic rodent deterrent. So this has ultrasonic sound in it and flashing lights that irritate the mice and the rodents and keeps them from burrowing and making a home inside my vehicle. And that's how my car stays nice and fresh through the winter and ready for spring.